With a focus on the connection between communities, the land and the natural environment through plants, herbs and flowers, the company's garden in Cape Town, a fitting venue, as those gathered reflected on the cruel and abhorrent practice of slavery and its profound impact on society then and now. Many Capetonians are descendants of the early people, violently uprooted from their places of birth and sold to slave masters at the Cape for the sole purpose of grueling and enforced labour, a practice which would change the course of history in the country forever.
I can trace my slave ancestry back to 1768. It was a person by the name of Omar Saval that was born in the Cape. And I've managed to trace them down up to a point in Uitenhage when in 1834 that, when Emancipation took place. But in between, there were a couple of things I've discovered. That, for example, he was a tailor by trade. He is a progenitor of the Kafar family. He was an ombudsman by trade. But they were all born in slavery.
The first slaves arrived a few years after the establishment of the Cape as a Dutch settlement. In the 19th century, under British rule, with its growing concept of human rights, the practice was finally abolished. But not before indigenous people too were dispossessed of their land and independent way of life.
When I asked my gran who her parents were, she couldn't tell me. And I said, but Gran, why don't you know? And she said, no, she never knew her parents because she found herself as a child, in company of strangers. And she never knew who her parents were because her parents were slaves and they were sold somewhere and they never took her along.
In the run-up to the commemoration, a series of workshops have been held at the District 6 Museum, with young and older participants creating various artworks using plants and flowers as metaphors for the experience of slavery.
A lot of people who were displaced under apartheid because of forced removals have a little bit of an inkling of what it is to lose your home and to be disconnected from that. And I think that's a way in for people to understand the horror of not only the loss of your physical home, but the loss of your homeland, and to end up in a place where you have no connection, and also to have no agency and no sense of freedom as well.
The annual Emancipation Walk aims to educate citizens of the gross human rights violations suffered by enslaved people, many the forebears of those who have contributed to building and who now form part of the rich tapestry of society of the city which lies at the foot of Table Mountain. Vanessah Poonah, SABC News, Cape Town.